Forget the T-Rex. History has a secret, a forbidden chapter it ripped out and tried to bury. Before the first dinosaur ever hatched, the world belonged to something else. A nightmare monster with the fangs of a vampire bat and the warm-blooded fury of a rabid wolf. This wasn't a reptile. It wasn't a mammal. It was an evolutionary mistake, a horrifying rough draft of an apex predator that ruled a world of poison and ash. Today, we dig up the evidence. We uncover the blueprint for the perfect killer, long before the age of dinosaurs. The imposter skull, the shocking claim. You're looking at what seems like a reptile skull, right? Scaly, scary, lives in the past. Wrong. This creature, the Gorgonopsid, was not a reptile. It was part of a group called synapsids, the ancient, messed-up ancestors of, well, us. It was a proto-mammal. The scientific evidence. See this hole? And this one? Dinosaur and reptile skulls are diapsids, meaning they have two openings behind the eye socket for jaw muscles. But the Gorgonopsid? It only has one. That single opening is the trademark of the synapsid lineage, the branch of life that would eventually lead to every mammal on Earth, from a blue whale to your weird cousin Steve. This wasn't just a cosmetic difference. This skull architecture, combined with analysis of its bone structure, points to a high-octane, terrifying secret, a much faster metabolism. It was likely warm-blooded. The horrifying implications and analogy. Do you understand what that means? This wasn't some cold, lazy crocodile waiting by the water for a stupid meal to wander by. This was an engine of destruction that generated its own heat. It was a 2-100-60-million-year-old furnace wrapped in leather and fury. Think of a Komodo dragon. Now, imagine it injected with the frantic, psychotic energy of a honey badger that just mainlined a gallon of espresso. It didn't wait for the world to warm up. It woke up warm, and it woke up wanting violence. It hunted day, it hunted night. It hunted relentlessly because its internal fire demanded fuel. The bridge to the next mystery. But having a weird skull and a raging metabolism is one thing. To feed that furnace, it evolved a weapon so iconic, so brutally efficient, that evolution would copy it millions of years later. I'm talking, of course, about those teeth. And they weren't for chewing. The sabre-tooth blueprint, the shocking claim. Look at those teeth. You think you know how they work, right? Big, chompy, pointy things for biting. No, the Gorgonopsid didn't bite its victims to death. It assassinated them. Those canines were the prototype, the original design for a weapon that wouldn't be perfected again for another 250 million years. The scientific evidence. Those canines could reach over 5 inches in length, but they were surprisingly thin and prone to breaking if twisted. This wasn't for grappling. Fossil evidence of its prey, like the ridiculously armored Scutosaurus, shows us what it was up against. Biomechanical models show the Gorgonopsid had a weak, fast bite, not a strong, crushing one. Its strategy wasn't to win a wrestling match. It was to open its jaws to a near 90-degree angle and deliver a single, devastating, hydraulic press-style stab to the throat or belly, severing arteries and windpipes in an instant. The horrifying implications and analogy. This makes the Gorgonopsid something far scarier than a simple monster. It was a specialist, an artist of the kill. This is the difference between a thug who beats you with a club and a silent assassin who slides a stiletto between your ribs. It didn't need a prolonged, messy fight. It was all about efficiency. It would identify the target, sprint in, deliver one catastrophic puncture, and then just wait. It was a walking, warm-blooded pair of railroad spikes that had evolved for the sole purpose of punching holes in anything that moved. The bridge to the next mystery. So, picture it. A warm-blooded, saber-toothed assassin from the dawn of time. But to land that perfect killing blow, it had to be fast. And the way it moved might be the most unnatural, horrifying thing about it. It didn't slither or waddle like the reptiles it lived with. Its body was a bizarre, unsettling mix of old and new. The uncanny gait, the shocking claim. This monster ran wrong. Utterly, fundamentally wrong. To achieve the speed it needed, the Gorgonopsid developed a locomotion system that was a half-finished evolutionary project, resulting in a sprint that would look completely alien and deeply unsettling to our modern eyes. The scientific evidence. Reptiles have a sprawling stance, with legs out to the side. Mammals have an erect stance, with legs directly underneath the body for efficient movement. The Gorgonopsid was caught in the middle. Fossil analysis of its hip and shoulder joints reveals a bizarre compromise. Its hind legs were positioned mostly underneath its body, providing powerful, mammal-like thrust, but its front legs were still angled outwards in a semi-sprawl. It was a biological chimera of old and new blueprints. The horrifying implications and analogy. Forget the elegant lope of a wolf or the low, slow waddle of a crocodile. This thing's run was a glitch in the matrix. Imagine a creature whose back half is galloping like a racehorse, while its front half is scrambling like a panicked iguana trying to climb a wall. It's a janky, horrifying power scramble. It's like watching a cheap CGI monster from the 90s, where the animators ran out of time. Except this abomination is real, it's warm-blooded, and it's closing the distance to you at a terrifying speed. It's the physical embodiment of an evolutionary nervous breakdown. The bridge to the next mystery. So let's recap the nightmare fuel. We have a sabre-toothed, proto-mammal assassin with a psychotic metabolism and a glitchy, terrifying sprint. For millions of years, this was the undisputed king. It ruled the world. So where is it? Why isn't this horrifying creature the ancestor of all top predators? Because it wasn't killed by a bigger monster or a sharper tooth. It was erased by an apocalypse so total, it makes the dinosaur extinction look like a minor fender bender. The great dying, the shocking claim. This apex predator, this masterpiece of prehistoric destruction, was not dethroned. It was deleted. The Gorgonopsid wasn't outcompeted by a superior hunter. It was murdered by the planet itself in the single greatest extinction event life on Earth has ever known. The Permian Triassic extinction. The scientific evidence. About 252 million years ago, a series of volcanic eruptions on a continent-sized scale in modern-day Siberia tore the world apart. For thousands of years, they pumped catastrophic amounts of carbon dioxide and toxins into the atmosphere. The oceans turned to acid, the air became poison, and global temperatures skyrocketed. It's called the Great Dying for a reason. Over 95% of all marine life and 70% of all land life was wiped out. The Gorgonopsids, as top predators, were hit the hardest. Their prey vanished, their environment collapsed, and their high-octane bodies couldn't handle the poisoned, superheated air. They were snuffed out completely. The horrifying implications and analogy. This wasn't a fair fight. This was the universe cheating. Imagine being the undisputed, undefeated heavyweight boxing champion of the world. Then, in the middle of a title defense, the boxing ring, the arena, the entire city, and the continent it's on are simultaneously vaporized by a cosmic death ray. The Gorgonopsid didn't lose. The game was canceled. The board was flipped. The entire planet became a pressure cooker, and this ultimate predator was boiled alive inside it. Its complete annihilation left a power vacuum, a clean slate that allowed the humble ancestors of the dinosaurs to crawl out of the muck and eventually take over. Final statement. The Gorgonopsid was the original king, a monarch deposed not by a rival, but by a planetary scale act of God. So, the nightmare monster before the dinosaurs wasn't a myth. It was a Gorgonopsid. History's first draft of a perfect killer, a warm-blooded proto-mammal that combined saber teeth with a freakish high-speed gait. It didn't crawl, it hunted. It didn't bite, it assassinated. For millions of years, it was the undisputed ruler of a forgotten world, the terrifying apex of an entire evolutionary branch. But its story isn't one of defeat. It's one of cosmic bad luck. It was erased by a planetary reset button, a volcanic apocalypse that sterilized the globe and paved the way for the dinosaurs to rise from the ashes. The Gorgonopsid is a chilling reminder written in ancient bone. Evolution can build the perfect monster, but the planet is always and forever the final boss. If you enjoyed digging up this forbidden secret with us, execute a precision strike on that like button. And to ensure you don't miss our next deep dive into evolutionary nightmares, subscribe and ring that bell. Finally, for our next investigation, what ancient horror should we drag out of the fossil record? Let us know in the comments below. Now go on, get out of here.